Not that hers bad, but
Maybe
I feel like
not.
everything will come together. It's a bigger program. All right. Mentioned to you that tomorrow synthesis essay is going to prompt is going to be coming out your way, and we're going to be taking a look at it and all that kind of stuff. One thing, and I'll probably restate this again tomorrow, a significant difference between the TWA that you did on Monday and the one that you're going to be doing with the synthesis. Whereas on Mondays it said, it's expected a significant portion of your arguments is going to be coming from the final part, the last half, third, however you want to look at it, part of the book. That's not something that's necessarily a requirement for the synthesis essay. So you have examples here, 1 through 9, that are coming from the first 15 chapters of the book. And purposely, I'm going with those because there's certainly a lot of connections that then get made throughout the course of the story. But you don't have to feel bad about spending some time writing about something that happened in chapter 3. Is he going to be upset that I'm looking at something in chapter 3, I'm looking at something in chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 14, so to speak? Pretty much the answer is going to be probably not, so long as you can go about supporting your argument. I do think the way that the prompt is worded, it'll still force you to pull some stuff from the second part of the book, but you don't have to necessarily go, okay, I need 50% of my book or my essay coming from the second part and all that kind of stuff. So that's why, I think it's good to kind of go back and look at this. Plus, with a synthesis essay, the success of a synthesis tends to deal with how well you're able to make connections and pull a lot of things together, which, thankfully, this book certainly lends itself to do. So, prologue, graduation speech, all the way down. So I want to kind of start in order. We could even kind of start with ones where I'm not really sure what some connections would be. But how do you see repetition of these things coming up over and over again? You said Mary's Bank. Is that one that you feel good about or one that you don't feel good about? Okay. So yeah, we can kind of start there and go from there. Are there any other real banks that have a prominent scene in the book? Not really, no. So it doesn't mean that it has to necessarily be a bank itself.
The doll.
But I do think the Sambo doll would be a pretty good. If this page here will extend, there we go. Yeah, I think the Sambo doll would be a pretty good connection. What are the similarities between the Sambo doll and Mary's Bank? Okay, so both of them perpetuate a stereotype. And I think even with that stereotype, there's a certain aspect of control that goes with both of them. One is a little bit more of a financial control. The other one, you kind of have the string / puppet idea that goes along with it. But, Mary's Bank certainly became pretty symbolic when it came to Tim's membership in the Brotherhood. And certainly the doll in itself would tie in pretty directly when it comes to the Brotherhood because you have Clifton with the doll. At this point is when he kind of starts to realize that, okay, the puppet master that we're kind of dealing with would be the Brotherhood that is exerting some kind of aspect of control over whether it be him, whether it be Clifton, whether it be people in general. But the derogatory stereotype, caricature, image, that certainly would be a strong resemblance that happens with both. Plus, what ends up being the home for both of them? The briefcase. There, Megan said suitcase. Suitcase. Samsonite luggage. You know who has a Leatherbound briefcase? I used to. Mr. Kerr carries his little briefcase with him every day. So for bonus points, you confiscate the briefcase.
And we get from how many good contents?
No, there are not derogatory things in this briefcase.
Oh, they're naked too.
Oh no.
Is there money?
Money? Highly doubtful.
Then I don't know.
It's a diploma.
Maybe his diploma could be. Maybe enough bonus points to offset your tardiness of your assignment submission.
Who's this?
Jesse's
The classroom.
Nicknamed The Wall.
Closest.
If you read the Arrowhead article.
Yes, he gets the.
No, you focus on your own Arrowhead article.
I just focused on mine.
But Heath, do you at least kind of see like some similarities where this would be popping up? So for example, when you get your TWAs back, and I could be some folks in this class, certainly could be other classes, and this wasn't me being necessarily critical of things that you did, but if someone was mentioning, Mary's Bank, as a symbolic object, a stereotypical derogatory image that's being perpetuated throughout the course of Invisible Man, I probably would have written something like, well, what about the Sambo doll, next to it? Now, you folks were specifically dealing with a vision motif, so you weren't really writing about that as much as some other classes where they were picking what their motifs would be. But this would be an idea where, hey, if I'm mentioning Mary's Bank, I probably would want to mention the doll, or Paul, the way it looks like it's written, and you're taking parts from chapters that are pretty separate from one another and pulling in connections, that can be pretty significant. What else?
Homer, Bart.
Some of you guys did mention him for your TWA on Monday, which made sense.
Yes.
Because what is he? He's a blind. Blind. What? Well, no, I was doing Jesse speak from your study guide.
Yeah.
He's a blind.
He's a blind preacher.
Right.
Yeah, patience.
So a couple things here where I'd say both words end up being significant, where dealing with his blindness, and not that, okay, therefore it's going to make me think of Jack because he's blind too, because I would say those two could be some pretty different characters. But in what ways do we see his kind of blindness continue to pop up throughout? I mean, he's endorsing the founder, he's endorsing Bledsoe, the college education, and all that kind of
I
stuff.
was thinking restaurant.
Okay, yeah.
I was thinking more so in like there being black people that are supporting kind of similar causes.
So both of them, and they're certainly most likely not aware of it, but basically supporting the problem as opposed to trying to find a solution. All right, so supporting, discrimination or white control authority. Put that white authority. Western with the Brotherhood and Brother Jack. Barbie with like the college, the board, the trustees, and all that kind of stuff. Within the college realm, if I'm writing about college blindness, Barbie's going to be a good one. I don't know if Emma, if your contact's getting any better. She's still squinting. We decided all essays from here on out, contacts out. At least for your synthesis. It'll make you feel like you're part of the book.
You gotta really use that video.
Blindness at the school. I'm thinking of a source that you have. Statute. So part of the protocol for the school is to blind people maybe to the truth or to what what is really happening. You would seem to have a success story with Homer Barbie where he does not recognize the reality of Bledsoe and what is going on at the school. So these two would certainly kind of link in that way. Fail to see the education that's taking place. So this is a reverend that cannot see and doesn't do anything to change the way in which Tim sees. Can you think of a preacher that would juxtapose that idea? We talked about him yesterday. Reverend Reinhardt. Not blind, but you put on your Reinhardts. Emma, find some Reinhardts. Come in with your green sunglasses. White hat. Then you could write like whatever kind of essay you want, and we'll think it's an 8 because you determine how we want to see it. But you have a different preacher, not a blind preacher, but we have Reinhardt who provides a different way of seeing things. One of the things that that you can certainly keep in mind is you're not responsible for like summarizing every single little thing that happens. So Reverend Barbie's blind, by the way. Reverend Barbie is a blind minister. He's giving a big sermon in chapter 5 to Tim right before he's going to go have to talk to Bledsoe again, where you kind of get lost in the details. If you include pertinent things where, like, Homer Barbie is a perfect example of what's symbolic of the school, where people don't realize what's happening, he can't literally or figuratively see the truth, you've certainly touched on him enough that you've established why he's significant as a character. And that can allow you then to start to connect it to other people, whether it be Western, where I like that connection, the statue, Reinhardt, but you don't have to feel like you have to establish a summary of the context of every single little thing, because you just don't necessarily have time for that when it comes to like a TWA. Linking multiple examples together, that's what really kind of validates your arguments, as opposed to here's all the textual details that are kind of happening in chapter 4, chapter 5. Number 8's one that people sometimes get stuck on.
So yeah,
No ideas for that one? You want me to blow up the screen?
It's fine.
Okay.
Thanks, though. Mary Rainbow, at the end of the book, when Tim has seen, like, the, destruction and everyone, he's like, I gotta go. Well, he doesn't say I gotta go to his house, but that's his intention.
Yeah, that's where he wants to go, his destination. So the idea of repetition, even though he doesn't go there, the thought of Mary is still there, thinking to return at the end of the book. So. Okay. So things to return during the riots. Doesn't happen, but the thought process is there. Why do you think he wants to go there? Mother Mary, mother figure. And I know this doesn't seem like we're talking about repetition, but he meets her right after his rebirth that kind of takes place in the paint factory. So, you got young Tim again, formative Tim, symbolically. So a mother figure kind of comes in. What does he teach her? What does she teach him? I mean, I know they don't sit down and do ABCs, but what influence maybe does she have over him? Even if it's not, okay, Tim, this is what you should do. Seventh period, even if they didn't know the answer, they like made jokes. Jesse's just gonna go, what do you do, Megan? And then Megan's gonna make this up. All the time.
All the time.
All the time. What was the statement on the study guide?
Trilla demonstrates this by.
Okay. Mary Rambo demonstrates this by. ... What's the best line in the whole entire book?
I am what I am.
Okay, I am what I am. Good job. 266. So how, and we kind of mentioned significance of him eating the yams in comparison to other parts, which you mentioned on your study guide.
Yeah, on page 255, I wrote this down, Mary. She said, I'm in New York, but New York ain't in me.
Okay.
Don't get corrupted.
So if New York's not in her, what is in her?
Her
Heritage, culture, essentially her roots. So she kind of introduces or reintroduces the idea of teaching Tim his roots. And so New York City is not in him, so when he sees the Carolina yams, oh, this is my birthmark, I love these things. In comparison to earlier, about 90 pages before on 178, you look like a pork chops and grits kind of guy? No. little bit of angstiness there. I want my orange juice, I want my grits, I want my coffee. All right, I want the typical kind of northern breakfast. So there is some education that kind of takes place. Not worry about who she is as a character. Rambo. Any other names come up that sound like Rambo? Sambo. The movie.
Yeah. Rango.
What else?
I swear, I read that. For some reason, during the whole last half of the book, I thought Sambo, and I wrote that on my.
Well, because another person who shows up in the book quite frequently in the second half of the book. Hambro. Who's Hambro? His like trainer, you know, so to speak. He's going to indoctrinate him into the Brotherhood. Paint Factory. Kimbrough. Plus, then you have like, you know, brothers refer, you know, all throughout the time, you know, brother this, brother that, and then you're starting to kind of go, hey, bro, and making all these kind of connections. It seems a little bit more, you know, than a coincidence that you would kind of have this same kind of sound popping up over and over again. You could make the argument that Allison's not good with character names because he can't even name the protagonist. I think that was Ben's comment in the first period, which you could kind of look at that a little bit. But there is a little bit of some mnemonic device kind of going on where you have a repetition. I think this teaching idea, though, is something that you could certainly take a look at where Mary Rambo helps teach him about his cultural roots. Hambro is someone who teaches him about the Brotherhood. So the science of the Brotherhood. Sambo Doll, truth about the Brotherhood. Kimbrough, dealing with paint and the way that people perceive things. Remember when they mix paint, Tim sees gray paint, Kimbrough sees white paint, even though, you know, Tim doesn't think it's working very well. You kind of get a little bit of education there that maybe people, even though looking at the same thing, depending upon background, race, gender, culture, whatever, you might not see things necessarily the same way. Yeah, and yes, I want the thing to be white, I want it to be the right way. That's the way that you do it. No, all the time. You too.